from my heart and from my hand. Why don't people understand my intention?
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan. So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle.
Charbono! It's all about the Charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
But listen, Lavernius, shake a face.
I'm shaking like a dog shitting peach seeds.
You could use it to fight off creeping marauders looking to take your steaks off your grills.
I just like being anywhere with Junior, Senior, and Diva.
Sounds like a whole other type of movie.
Wow. Yeah, really. Keep it hot, keep it clean, keep it lubricated.
We have top men working on it right now. Who? Top men.
Hey, welcome back to After Dark. So happy you've decided to stick around. Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos. We'll figure that out here when they call in. Hot Grill on Grill Action, going to be talking about their time on Season 2 of BBQ Pitmasters. Maybe you didn't know that on the 12th of August at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TLC, Season 2 of BBQ Pitmasters comes back to make its triumphant return. New format. We've talked about it, perhaps, some would think ad nauseum. But you can never talk about it too much, especially when it's actually not on the air yet. So lots of build-up, and then, of course, we'll have lots of interviews coming here over the next many weeks as people have shown up on the show, and we'll get their recounting of how everything went down and what they thought of the new judging format. I think it's especially interesting to get some of the perspective in regards to, for the people that were applying for the show, and this is a question I'm going to ask Logan and Ryan here in just a few minutes. When the initial call went out that Season 2 was going to be, or was given the green light, and that John Marcus was looking for teams to go out and make a video proposal of why they should be on the team, at that point, when that went out, there was no talk at that point of the format change that was happening. So did teams make this video card of themselves, this demo, the sizzle reel, and think that they were going to be on the same type of show that Season 1 was? And at what point did Season 2's new format get introduced to them? And what were the feelings about that? I would imagine that there were some people... Look, some people want to get on television regardless. I mean, they don't give a rat's ass. Their job in life, their mission in life, is to be on television, regardless, at any stakes. So I wonder what that's all about. If people were, at any point, if people thought, well, everything has changed now. It's not what it was. It's this new thing, and I might step away from that. Maybe I would concede my spot. I don't know. So it'll be interesting to get Logan and Ryan's take on that, because I do have that in the question queue for them. So without further ado, let's go ahead and race over to the hotline. We're going to be joined by two teammates of a team that makes it on the debut session of BBQ Pitmasters. It's Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos. Hot grill on grill action, baby. Yeah. BBQRevolution.com is the website. Guys, thanks for coming on tonight. How are you?
Pretty good, Greg. How are you?
I'm not
doing good.
I'm not doing bad at all. Ryan, I have to ask you right at the top, because I didn't ask Logan to phonetically spell it out. Is it Amos or Amos?
It's Amos, as in Ryan Angus.
Gotcha. All right. So Ryan Amos, Logan Hendrickson, Hot Grill on Grill action, and they're going to be on Season 2 of BBQ Pitmasters Thursday, airing at 10 o'clock on TLC. So Ryan, I'll go ahead and start with you, and then we'll have Logan jump in. How did you actually, it doesn't have to be the competition side yet, but how did you get involved in barbecue in general?
Well, actually, Greg, my father has been cooking on the competition circuit for 13 years. And actually, my brother and another teammate of theirs, Jeff Thompson, they've all been cooking together for, I'd have to say, 15 of those years, or 15 years now, and 13 of those years they've been competing. Really, it all kind of started when I left town to pursue a career in construction management. And I basically had to move away from the barbecue cooking that I was used to. So instead of, effortlessly, or instead of repeatedly trying to find a good barbecue restaurant to eat at, I just started cooking myself, and with the help of my dad and my brother, came up with my own recipes, and that's how we got started.
Do you want to give Dad and your brothers a special mention for their team name on the show?
That would be Omaha's Blowin' Smoke.
Omaha's Blowin' Smoke. Karma, baby. And how about you, Logan? How'd you get into this thing?
Well, Greg, about 5 years ago when two of our teammates, Matt and Ryan, formed the team, I kind of palled around with them when they'd have their little contest, and they'd have their little Friday night parties, and would always invite all their friends out. So I would go out there with probably 30 or 40 other people, and they always threw a great time. And eventually, I just started kind of helping out with little tasks here and there, to the point where I actually saw this as something that was incredibly fun to do, challenging, and had even started kind of talking about forming my own team with a couple other people. And that's kind of at the same point in time that Matt Frampton, who's also on our team, and Ryan were talking about picking up a couple members. So he asked me and another gentleman named Chris Yelich to join the team, and it was an instant yes from us. So, and that was about 3 years ago, and been cooking with them ever since.
All right, so that was 3 years. Ryan, were you competing prior to that, or were you just looking to form a team, and it just happened to be all kismet and karma between you and the other two guys?
Well, actually, we were competing for 2 years before that, just Matt Frampton and I, and really, we really needed some more folks to help out. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. Just cooking, 4 categories doesn't sound like a whole lot, but we certainly needed their help. And we couldn't think of anybody else that we would rather have on the team besides Logan and Chris.
It's funny, Ryan, because I hear from a lot of the pitmasters that I talk to, it's either themselves and a significant other, or there's a team of like 4 or 5 or 6 other people to kind of have their own stations, almost like a military operation. Do you find that it actually works better to have more than less?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We've got a specialist for each category. And since we've been running the team that way, and I say we, they say Pitmaster Ryan Amos, really there's 4 of us. That's the way I like to see it. And as a unified front, all 4 of us have been bringing a much better product to the table versus just Matt and myself. All
right, Logan, so let's be honest here, and don't lie like I know you want to. When somebody who has been determined as, the rib specialist, the brisket specialist, if they're dragging behind and they're the low man on the totem pole for weeks on end, what kind of a lashing and an ass whooping are they taking by the other teammates and specialists?
Oh, I'm glad you brought that question up, Greg, because we had a couple different things. The first thing we do, I don't know if you had a chance to watch our audition video or not, but we've got a little chicken that kind of squawks at people.
Yes.
And if we have someone that's kind of lagging behind or sleeping in, and it looks like their product's not going to turn out right, we'll just grab the chicken and kind of give them one of these. So that's our first way of letting them know that, hey, you know what, something's not going right, and we're kind of pissed off at you. So wake up and get your stuff going. But we tried initially when I joined the team, it was the same categories that we were assigned to now, and we kind of cooked through the whole year with some pretty good success. And then we had the brilliant idea the following year to have each of us cook 2 categories, during the competition. So one, the cost was a lot higher. Mm-hmm. You'd have 2 people cooking, 3-4 racks of ribs instead of just one person. And then we would actually go and before we'd turn them in, we would judge them ourselves and determine whose we were going to turn in. So, and it was pretty spread out. You'd think, hey, the brisket guy who's been cooking the brisket, we're going to turn his in, or the chicken guy, we're going to go with his chicken for this contest. It ended up kind of splitting down the middle. A lot of times we sat there and kind of scratched our heads on what to turn in. Ultimately, we didn't do quite as good last year with that format at all, so we went back to each of us just kind of perfecting our own category. And we've had, a tremendous amount of success this year as opposed to last.
Ryan, I wonder because as you increase more teammates, the obvious thought is you're able to spread the competition expense over that many people. Is it easier to have this many people and kind of chip in? I mean, is everybody, you figure out what the total cost of an event is going to be and you split it however many ways with however many teammates, or do some people pay more and some people pay less?
No, actually, Greg, we split the costs. Everybody tallies up the receipts. Thanks to Matt, he's basically in charge of the finances for the team. He's got the know-how and he's got a great spreadsheet. Everything just gets entered in, and it automatically just tells who owes how much to whom. So we just split it 4 ways, and there's always the odds and ends that get picked up, but nobody's carrying any more burden financially than any other teammate. So it's working out great, and I know there's a lot of issues on other teams. You always hear some people griping and stuff, but we figured that out from the get-go. We've been 4 friends for, as long as I can remember, and by no means is money going to get in the way of that. So we've got it pinned down.
Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos joining us. Hot grill on grill action. So I got to ask, I'm endlessly fascinated by how people come up with their team names. Hot grill on grill action has to be one of my favorite ones that I've ever found out about. So, Logan, how does the team name actually be decided on? I mean, it's really one of the top ones of all time.
Oh, I appreciate that. We agree with that too as well, Greg. So thank you for that comment. And we get laughs, pretty much everywhere we go. It's kind of nice too, being called up here in the last couple of years, and when who's ever running the award ceremony calls it up, you usually get a pretty good chuckle out of the crowd. So, when we started the team, we kicked around a couple different names. One of the names we kicked around was School of Smoke. We were pretty sold on that. I'm not sure if you folks at home there have seen our smoker. It's called the Little Chub on our website. But basically, if you kind of look at that, you've got the big smoker there and kind of the tail end of it. But at the front of it, we've got a little tiny smoker. And so when we were looking at it, we started tossing out names like, hey, let's have a little grill and a fat grill, or a grenade and a hottie. And so we didn't know exactly what to come up with, and one name that kind of got thrown out there was Hot Grill Action, and then it just kind of blossomed into Hot Grill on Grill Action because there's actually 2 grills on our smoker. So.
Right. It had nothing to do with the play on words.
I'm sorry?
It had nothing to do with the play on words, right?
Right, absolutely. Yeah. We had Matt and I were carrying our previous name was Louis Hewis and the Q, stemming back from drunken evenings trying to come up with a band name of all things back in college, and it was kind of stemmed off of that. But when this one came up, man, it was no question. The other one was gone, and since we've renamed the team and gotten the new members, we've really stepped it up.
Yeah, and it is of no coincidence whatsoever that it happens to resemble another phrase that a lot of people kind of tend to gravitate towards.
Absolutely. Team name, Hot Grill on Grill Action, certainly one of the best ones out there. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and dump into the show here. Ryan, I'll start with you first. I imagine you see the open casting call for Season 2, but when you shoot the video, and I was just talking about this in the open, which was very good video, by the way, very well done. Did you know at that point that the format change had taken place?
No, I had no idea. Had no idea whatsoever.
So I guess a follow-up question to that would be, if you knew that the format change was going to be switched, would you have thought about applying for the show? Because I would imagine you were under the assumption, Logan, that this new season was going to be just like Season 1.
That is correct, Greg. When we sent in the audition video, we weren't sure how they were going to get it. We kind of threw around our best guesses, and the best we could come up with is they were going to take 3 or 4 of the more popular competitors from Season 1 and maybe bring those folks to Omaha, Nebraska for one of our events, and then maybe select our team to go against them if we were lucky enough, and then maybe take the show to the West Coast, to the Northwest. So we kind of thought they'd be doing more of a traveling type show. It wasn't until after we submitted the video and started kind of reading up on the format that it just looked like it was a little bit different. And then you just kind of started seeing little things here on the various blogs and websites. And once we got our actual contract in the mail, we knew that the show was going to be quite a bit different than what most of the viewers were used to in Season 1.
All right, so if you would have known up front before you made the video, if you consult with all the rest of the teammates and you see how it's going to be, what it eventually ended up being like for you guys versus what season 1 was like, would you have potentially decided against it, or did you want to do it regardless?
We were going to do it regardless of the format. Our take on it, and we kind of subscribe to Greater Omaha Barbecue Society, GOBS here in Omaha. They are on gobs.org, but one of their main philosophies is, if you're going to sign up for the barbecue competition, you need to be an advocate of the sport. In this case, any type of exposure that we can create just for the sport of barbecue, whether it's in the format that we agree with or don't agree with, we want that publicity to be out there. It kind of looked like for a while there that TLC might not be picking up a season 2, which was a little bit disappointing. But once the announcement came that they were going to be picking it up, I think anybody that's out there that's a barbecue advocate and like the first season should be happy that we've got a season 2 coming.
So, Ryan, you like to be ambassadors for the sport. They're telling you they want people out there. They're going to be talking well and showing well in regards to what competition barbecue is all about. But is there at all like a 15 minutes of fame thing where, I want to be on television, I want people to look at me, or did you really want to show off the cooking chops and have a shot at that $100,000 prize at the end?
We wanted to show off our skills, Greg. We're 4 young guys. We kind of tend to talk a lot of crap. Really, yeah, your 15 minutes of fame, great. We could just be a flash in the frying pan and be done. But if that's the case, then so be it. But really, we just really enjoy cooking, and we certainly we really just want to show what we can do out there, and like Logan said, be an advocate for the sport, and bring Omaha, if anything, let folks out there know that Omaha's got some great teams.
All right, Logan. So how were you actually made aware that Hot Grill on Grill Action was going to be on the show after you had submitted the video?
Greg, it was a pretty long and drawn-out process. We kind of scrambled to put together our audition video, which is a story in itself. But once we sent it in, approximately, I think 6 hours before the deadline, it was a waiting game after that. I was out in California, actually on some business, and got a call about 3 or 4 weeks later from one of the producers at that original media, who said that we'd basically gotten past the first round of selections, and what they do at that point is they send you out a question-type questionnaire that we had to fill out, and so we got that. We turned around and got that out to them right away, and then we waited for about 3 or 4 weeks. They run a pretty streamlined process up there, and it's a little bit worrisome because we'd send out an email, hey, making sure, did you get our information? They'd come back and say yes, and then we'd say, well, any thoughts on it? Have you guys decided to move forward? And you wouldn't hear any updates back, and so 2-3 weeks would go by, and we'd be kind of just sitting there going, well, we gave it a good shot. And then all of a sudden an email comes to us that says, okay, we've now made it to the final round of selections, and gave out some potential dates that they might be filming the show. And we said, great, anything that we can do to put ourselves in a better light, or if there's any information that you may need from us, we'll be more than happy to provide that. About 2 weeks later, I got a call from Lindsay Freed, who is the producer at Original Media, great gal, an absolute riot. But she informed us that we were going to be on the show, and our contracts would be coming within a couple of weeks, and drove over to Matt's house. We had a team meeting and had a couple celebratory beverages, and just kind of scratched our heads and said, wow, this is actually happening. This is pretty damn cool. A year ago when we started watching season 1, we always would say to ourselves, man, we've got to find a way to get on that show, just to get them here so we can kind of show them some of the different stuff that we do, why our team's fun and that type of stuff. So we were absolutely thrilled through the process, but it definitely was time consuming. It had us kind of on pins and needles for weeks, and when it finally came to fruition, we had some pretty happy campers in Omaha, Nebraska.
So when you had that team meeting, Ryan, were you guys doing bong shots out of that pink flamingo type deal? Or
yeah,
what?
Absolutely. The flabongos most certainly were broken out. We do feel that that's a huge part of why they wanted us there. I mean, we're a fun team. We always bring fun to the contest, tormenting teammates, friends, other teams, whatnot. But, yeah, I mean, our personalities, I mean, if you watch our video, it doesn't show a stitch of food on there. The cooker's not even running. It doesn't go over our ribbons. It doesn't go over our victories. It shows 4 guys who slammed together a video that just showed 4 personalities that deep down inside I knew it would be good for TV. So at the beginning, I was always confident. And, like Logan was saying, it was a long, drawn-out process. He said weeks. It was months of kind of hanging out waiting. And but yeah, the flabongos, victory shots and flabongos, absolutely.
No doubt about it. That's awesome. There you go. Get back in there, flabongo. All right. So Ryan, keeping with you for a second, did you guys have to find your way out to California, all expenses on you guys, or do Original Media and TLC kind of take care of all that for you guys?
Yeah, Original Media and TLC took care of most all that for us. I mean, you can't expect them to pay all our alcohol fees and everything else on the way out. But yeah, they did a good job. They took good care of us. And, by all means, we'd do it again. It was an experience of a lifetime. I keep telling folks it's kind of like spring break for middle-aged men. It's not that often that you get to go out and travel for 10 days with 3 of your best friends. So, yeah, it was good times, and they definitely made it easy on us.
And Logan, do you guys are you guys made aware of, prior to actually going to start the shoot, the other teams that you'll actually be competing against?
We had absolutely no clue, what to expect. So, no, we basically drove up on site. The group in front of us, I'm not sure if you're kind of familiar with how they filmed the episodes, but they're all filmed in one location,
right.
Just outside of Los Angeles. And they'd bring, 4 teams in. And, when we actually pulled in, probably 10 minutes before that, the other teams were basically leaving. And then when our episode was done filming, we kind of sat around and waited for some post interviews, that type of stuff to take place. And we could see, 4 other teams coming in. And so they would just kind of shoot those in different segments. But it was, just a solid, straight through all the episodes.
So when you actually get on set, you see the other teams that you're going to be cooking against. Any surprises? Any like, oh man, I know that person, or were you guys pretty much game on right from the get go?
Absolutely. The first team that pulled in, and that was Southern Soul Barbecue from St. Simon's Island, Georgia. We were not aware of them, but we had kind of shopped around and done our searches of all the different videos. And so we remember seeing Harrison Sapp, who's their pitmaster. We remember seeing his video on there, so we kind of recognized him. And then we had Mo Kason, who came in after that, and we definitely know who Big Mo is. He's just a hop, skip, and a leap in Des Moines, Iowa, from Omaha. And we'd run into him, at a few contests. Actually, Ryan's dad has run into him, and Ryan was out helping his dad's team. So very familiar with him. The team that was there from Texas, we weren't aware of them. Couldn't find their audition video. When we got home and kind of looked it up to see if we had missed something. But all 4 teams were definitely fantastic people, fantastic cooks, and a lot of personality. In the group. It was a pretty neat dynamic.
All right, Ryan, so one of the biggest concerns with the new format of the show was, will there be traditional barbecue in the competition? So obviously not getting into anything specific for whatever contractual things you guys have signed your lives away to. Will the barbecue purists be satisfied with what items you're cooking during this contest?
Oh, absolutely. I don't know what was shown on the other shows. The things that we cooked, it was one of your 4 proteins typically turned in at a KCBS event. And, the Pit Fire Challenge, which everybody knows about, that's something that, being from the Midwest, it was right up our alley. So it was nothing overly unusual. but certainly was something that we hadn't cooked a whole lot. And thanks to Chris Ulick for coming through on that.
Want to get both of your thoughts on this. We'll start with Logan. Did you appreciate the twists during the competition? I mean, obviously you're very well versed in cooking the traditional proteins that Ryan had mentioned, but you have these twists and turns during the course of that event. Do you appreciate that kind of interesting dynamic, or could you have done without it? We'll start with Logan.
Oh, I could. I think when you first hear about it, Greg, it's something that that you can live without because we had driven I think 3,000 miles total for the trip and 60 hours in the car, and you get out there and the twist is thrown at you. Hey, there's going to be this pit fire challenge, and if you don't win, there's a possibility that you may be putting your smoker out and not even advance to have your main meat product judged at the end. So I think it added a little bit of a stress, from that standpoint. However, we kind of expected some different twists and turns and that type of thing going into it, because they had mentioned that there's going to be a wide list of things that could potentially be cooked, and there are some pretty exotic portions of meat on there. So we had ample time to go and research and things that we'd never cooked and say, okay, if we happen to get this, we know exactly how we're going to season it, how long to cook it, what we're going to do to it. So we did, hours and hours and hours of research on, how to barbecue various exotic creatures.
How about you, Ryan? You like it, or could you have done without it?
I could have done without it, to be quite honest. But, after seeing season one, I mean, you can't – I don't think they would have had I think they made the right decision by changing it up and throwing things like that at us. I mean, it's so-called reality TV, and I can't say so-called. I mean, it's right there, But I mean, really, the challenges, it'll make for good TV in a nutshell. I mean, like Logan said, so long as we were prepared for it, which we were, we brought, every single seasoning that we owned. I felt bad for the guy that had to tape up all the logos of everything, because he was over at our site taping up, covering labels for hours. So, we brought everything we could to be prepared.
Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos joining us here on the Barbecue Central Show After Dark, part of Hot Grill on Grill Action. So, guys, we'll start with Logan here. Well, actually, let me ask you a question I didn't really anticipate, but did you oh man, what the fuck did I want to say? You have the event, because I'm waiting for the flabango to come off again. When you have such a different point of view from season one to season two, and you have these twists and turns, and you're looking at it and you're like, man, well, this doesn't really seem to be any different than a handful of other competition cooking shows that are out there right now, which also seem to be one of those bigger internet type disputes was, well, it's now no longer differentiated because this is the same thing that's happening on 10 or 12 other different television shows. Logan, did you feel that in this aspect, this show was able to differentiate itself from a number of the other things that are kind of similarly themed?
I think they actually do, and I've been, on their Facebook BBQ Pitmasters site and the California Barbecue Association site, and the barbecue brethren out there, and just kind of seeing some of the comments on, people's reaction to the show. And it seems like you've got an overwhelming majority that kind of favored, the first season. But what I can say is there is going to be an element in those pit fire challenges that's going to be, quite different than what you've seen on the first season. Your main meat categories, in terms of that, is going to be spot on with exactly how you prepare them. Present them in those aspects of an actual barbecue competition. You are only cooking, that one main KCBS meat dish for it. Then you have that pit fire challenge. So there's going to be. Thank you, Ryan. There's going to be, there's going to be a couple different of aspects, but I think it's going to grab both the barbecue audience. And it's also going to grab, some of those folks out there that watch all the other reality shows. But the bottom line is, if you don't know how to barbecue, you are not going to succeed on this show. I mean, they could put, Emerald up against us or up against any of the other teams that were on the show, And if they hadn't been around barbecuing for quite some time, they're going to struggle quite a bit, and they'd be the first ones out. So it's definitely a show that you've got to have people that know how to cue.
Another new twist this year, Ryan, was that implementation of 3 judges. You have a proven barbecue champ in Myron Mixon. You have that accomplished NFL talent and I guess eater in Warren Sapp, and a very accomplished chef rounding out that judging panel in Art Smith. What do you think of the judges and their varying backgrounds?
That goes right back to, what Logan was saying, that they're clearly trying to open up the show to more than just the barbecue guys by throwing chefs in there, or judges like Art Smith, the chef. I mean, well-known guy, fantastic individual, Warren Sapp, the eater. I don't know. Quite honestly, Myron Mixon, he was the guy that I was looking for to tell me whether our food was good or bad. The other guys, they know what they're talking about, I guess, but this isn't no backyard barbecue, and it's not like we're sitting at a stainless steel sink, in a nice air conditioned kitchen cooking this stuff like Art Smith used to doing. I mean, really, like I said, Myron was the one that we were trying to impress the most. I really wish, I guess, that it would have been more folks like him, maybe Trigg or any of those other guys up there from the last season. Of course, we much rather would have gone up against them in competition. But hey, you get what you get. I don't think they had the budget they had last year either. To be traveling all over the country. I'm sure it's probably pretty easy to get folks to come out to LA and there's some locals there and local judging and whatnot. So, I guess we got what we got, and we're fair and happy with it. So
I had Myron Mixon on a couple weeks ago, Ryan, and he said that he was very steadfast in the fact that he was going to tell anybody that gave him the food exactly what he thought about it. Was he holding true to that with you guys?
Well, I hope so, because he had nothing but good things to say about our food. So yeah, I hope so. I did listen to that show, and it didn't sound like he was actually kind of disappointed that he wasn't out there competing too, if I remember correctly. Yeah. He'd rather win that money,
So what about you, Logan? Were you did you feel that the one that you really wanted to impress was Myron Mixon because of the pedigree and what he's done behind him, and you didn't really worry about the other two, or did you not feel the same as Ryan?
I do have the exact same opinion on that as Ryan. You get out there, we're used to, competing on the KCBS circuit, and that's what we know how to do, and that's what we've spent hours and hours and hours perfecting. So, in my opinion, his opinion on the food to me carried more weight than Warren Sapp, tremendous football player, minus the 1997 Orange Bowl when Nebraska beat him 24-17. He wasn't wasn't right, Warren. That one. We definitely we reminded him of that when we got out there. So as a matter of fact, we even wanted to bring a T-shirt out there that had a Nebraska Orange Bowl shirt that had the 24-17, but we couldn't get that through, the powers that be.
Of course.
Art Smith, on the other hand, he knows his stuff. I was very impressed when he would take a taste of either our team's food or one of the other team's food, and he can tell you pretty much exactly what's in it. He was a little more highly skilled, than I thought he would be. I knew he kind of had the pedigree, but for him to actually sit there and pick out, 3 or 4 things, that people can't figure out what we put in our stuff, he was able to nail it. So he's been around the block. He knows, what seasonings go good with, what different meats and whatnot. So, we definitely valued his opinion. Warren Sapp, on the other hand, he's just a guy that looks like he loves barbecue, and he looks like he can, eat, probably 4 or 5 times the amount of barbecue that someone else can. That being said, I was fairly impressed with his analysis of the foods when they get up there. Obviously, he wasn't quite as in depth as Myron from a barbecue standpoint, or Art Smith from a culinary standpoint. But from a terms of just kind of saying exactly what was on his mind and what he thought about the food, I thought he did a pretty darn good job of portraying, what he liked and what he didn't like about it. And, honestly, a lot of things that he said were spot on.
All right, Logan, so kind of keeping with that thought, did this really come off more as, let's call it an IBC A event versus an association like a KCBS or an FBA that trains and certifies their judges? It was more of just kind of like a popularity contest?
I'm pretty sure with the format, all three of the judges did have scorecards, which they're going to, I believe, put on TLC's website after each episode, so you can go in and actually see how they scored it. So from that standpoint, there were actual physical scores given. I can't recall the exact scale. I thought it was maybe 0 to 100 points, for your various things that you have to cook and turn in. So that component was in there as well. I didn't see anything that indicated whatsoever that it was a popularity contest or anything like that, which, that was pretty great to see from, any of the cook standpoints that were out there. That's the last thing that they wanted to turn it into.
All right, Ryan, so bottom line it for us here. All things considered, you've done it. It's all over, and obviously you're just dying to give me the scoop and tell me who exactly won. You going to do that, or?
Absolutely not.
Oh, okay.
You got, that contract was kind of one of the harder things I've had to sign.
There you go. Okay.
Wow, really?
That's funny.
There's a pretty hefty fine that's associated with it. So if we can get, a group of pretty wealthy investors, we might be able to swallow the fine. So if we can come up with that money, maybe we can work something out.
I wonder, I'm glad you mentioned that. I meant to ask you that earlier. The contract that you signed, how binding is that? I mean, is this something that is going to potentially affect you guys for the next 3-5 years, or is it more short-term than that? And what can't you really get into?
I mean, really, I believe, if I remember correctly, that anything that we do as far as any other food related appearances on any other channels or for any other companies, it would have to be run past them. I think they kind of got us for the next couple of years, which is fine because we're expecting them to bring us back for season 3.
So if Hot Grill on Grill Action wanted to become a Food Network TV show because Giada De Laurentiis and Bobby Flay love you guys so much after they see you Thursday on TLC BBQ Pitmaster or this season, you would have to go up to TLC and Original Media and ask for permission to go over there, and they could squash that.
Correct, and the way they kind of, I believe, approach it is, we would have to give TLC the opportunity to basically match their offer. So. To put on some type of similar show, I guess. I'm not sure the exact ins and outs of the contract, but it's something similar to that. They definitely don't say you can't go and do anything like that, but they do ask that if you are approached by any other not Food Networks, but any other type of cooking shows or, any other programs, that you make them aware of it and kind of go over the details of what they're going to be, showing you and offering you and that type of stuff. And from there, they can make the decision, well, you know what? Go for it, because, we didn't think you guys were that good, or, hey, we want to go ahead and match that and do a different kind of a similar show. So it's just something that you have to kind of run by them. But it was nothing that was too shocking or, anything that I thought was too out of the norm for that industry.
All right, Ryan, so let me get back to that original question. It's all said and done after being able to have some time away from it and now seeing it come to fruition on television, something you do again without blinking an eyelash, something you would maybe not do again this time. Where's your final experience at?
No, I think I'll speak for the whole team when I say, I'll do it again tomorrow. It was a great time, great people. Our team dynamic, we love meeting new people. We love introducing people to the good times that we can bring to an event like that. And we always leave there with people laughing, and we'd really appreciate an opportunity to do it again.
All right, and where will you guys be competing next?
We're going to be actually in La Platte, Nebraska, for the Nebraska State Championship barbecue competition there. Kind of interesting, there's going to be another team that was up against us on Pitmasters. That's also going to be joining us, and they're going to set us up, right next to each other there. So we'll be able to go at it again with this team, and we had a fantastic time with them in the first episode, and it'll be kind of a nice little reunion, so to speak. But kind of neat getting two teams that are on BBQ Pitmasters, out to the Nebraska State Championship. So, and all the other barbecue teams out there, if you want to take the road trip up to Nebraska, I can tell you it's absolutely one of the best barbecue competitions you're going to find, not only in the Midwest but in the nation. It's one that we look forward to. Every year you've got a pretty high purse prize. You've got about 76 teams, that ends up showing up out there. So, a lot of live entertainment out there. Just an absolutely well put together and well run tournament by Nina Cooney and Sonny Ashford there.
Plus a Jack Daniels qualifier, I would imagine. So want to always have a shot to win that bad boy and get down to Lynchburg, Tennessee. A couple more questions here before I let you go, boys. And again, we're talking with Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos from Hot Grill on Grill Action. Are you, after the show airs, that you are actually on, are you kind of ramping up and anticipating a bigger mob scene at your sites from competitions here on out, like some of the other people had experienced with season one, or are you not really expecting that?
I think, we can probably expect some people stopping by and saying, hey, we saw you on the show, and, chatting with a little bit of, about that. But the barbecue community that we come from, we're out there with the same teams, the same core. 30 teams are always at the same competitions, So if anything, they'll be giving us more shit than props, kind of knowing these guys out there. So, if we get more people over to campsite, we feel free to, talk to them and give them a full bongo and, all that hospitality stuff that we normally do. But, I think the barbecue community in Omaha is a pretty close-knit group, So if anything, we're probably getting some more guff or grief than anything else. So, which is
yeah, people will be talking more crap. They'll be gunning for us now, so that's fine.
The bullseye is big on the back now, right?
That's right.
Last question, guys, before I let you go. Has nothing to do with the show, but if you were able to, pull off the grand championship at the event we're talking about, and you happen to get it always sounds so weird for me to say, if you happen to get your bung pulled at the Jack Daniels drawing, it sounds so weird. You get down there. Is it a dream of Hot Grill on Grill Action to become the world champion of the Jack Daniels Barbecue Cook-Off, or is that something that you don't even really consider?
Right now, we're shooting for the invite to the American Royal. That right now is our first stepping stone. We've got to be invited down there, which, you get grand champion here, that's where we're going, is the American Royal. So we'll take that one as our first main victory. We'll worry about that so-called world champion later.
Do you not have any type of aspiration to win the Jack at some point, to have the barbecue career be complete?
Not to interrupt, but no, that would be fantastic. But you gotta set your goals and hold tight to your goals and keep track of those goals and always strive to make them. We'll reassess our goals after we get down to the American Royal.
All right, Logan, let me ask you this question, because as you can tell by the show, the Barbecue Central Radio Show has no goals and no aspirations whatsoever. So let's not account, or let's discount everything that Ryan just said. If you get to the American Royal Invitational and you win it, and then you also get invited down to the Jack Daniels Championship and win that one, which one is better to win in your eyes?
Boy, I'm going to be 100% honest with you, Greg. We're from the Midwest, and Kansas City is a short 2-hour drive away from us, and it's what we hear about every single year at our competitions. It seems to be that's one of the major goals. Now, that's not taking anything away from the Jack Daniels competition. Me personally, if I had my druthers, my first victory would come from winning the Royal, not the Open in the Royal, but actually winning the invite. It's one of all the champions of the KCBS Tour kind of meet. So. That being said, if there's any Jack Daniels representatives out there that want hot grill and grill action to head on down there, feel free to give us a call. We'll definitely come down and show you what we can do.
Ryan, if you could win both, would one mean more than the other to you?
Yeah, like the American Royal, absolutely. We're KCBS cooks. That's the king of KCBS competition right there.
All right,
you may have just lost about half your viewers, Greg. I apologize for that.
Well, look, this is why I like having the show, because inevitably, what am I talking about, really? We're talking about barbecuing meat, and it's like for the same meat, regardless of a number of the sanctioning bodies that are out there. But there's always a differing opinion, and I've asked that question to any number of great KCBS cooks out there, not saying that you guys aren't, but they say, yeah, we won the Invitational, or we did really well in the Open, but we would trade that to go and win the Jack. And I don't understand it, because I'm more along the same thought process as you guys. This is an invitational where the best of the best are coming to compete, and there's no arguing the fact that some of the best teams every year are left out of the Jack Daniels Championship. But for whatever reason, the Jack has the mystique. And if I'm kicking listeners right off of my own stream because this is my opinion, it's certainly not new to the Centralites, but that's just my opinion. I'm allowed to have. It's my goddamn show. So again, Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos will be showing up on the BBQ Pitmasters Season 2, which can be found Thursdays at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TLC. So be sure to check them out, root them on. Logan, Ryan, I appreciate you guys taking time out to come on the show and talk about everything that has to do with BBQ Pitmasters, your background in barbecue. Of course, the Bong Flamingo making a check-in every now and again. Certainly appreciate that, and I'm sure he'll be finding his way onto one of the opening sound bites of the After Dark segment. So, guys,
I did want to mention in there, we do want your listeners out there to kind of take or keep an eye out for a couple things during the premiere episode. The fifth member of our team is the chicken that you've kind of heard chiming in here a few times throughout the episode. We definitely wanted to make sure that we got that in there as well, because we do it at our local competition. So keep an eye out for that. Keep an eye out, of course, for the flabongos. But most importantly, really watch, the tips and stuff like that. Now, I did hear on a couple of previous message boards and stuff like that, there's some folks out there that are concerned that they're not going to be getting recipes and that type of stuff for, or tips for the competition. I can tell you that we had to release, all of our ingredients, all of our recipes, as well as every other team out there. And so they're all going to be on TLC's website. So you're going to find some pretty neat recipes. Also want to say for you folks out there, if you do want to go and check out our audition video and learn a bit more about our team, and heck, we post, quite a bit of recipes on our own website, which is bbqrevolution.com. So, regardless of what's posted out there, you can go out there and find some pretty proven recipes.
There it is on that website again, bbqrevolution.com. Logan, Ryan, I appreciate the time tonight. Continued success, and we'll definitely have you guys back on again soon.
Great.
Perfect.
Thanks, Greg.
Appreciate
All right, guys. Take care. Flabongo, baby, yeah! Flabongo. Race right over. I'm telling you, race right over to bbqrevolution.com. And fast forward through all the crap. Go right to the flabongo. They're doing bong shots of beer, not bong shots of ganja. No. That would be illegal, I think, in most places. Bong shots of beer from the flabongo. These guys get to get out to Seatown. As we all know, I don't leave the city for anything. It doesn't matter. LeBron James leaves the city of Cleveland before I do. These guys got to make it out to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. Dare I say, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. And they can just bring the flabongo, and we'll have a great time. They can sit in during the show. Chicken will be clucking and doing whatever chickens do, rubber chickens. It's great. And fast forward to the part where they keep bugging the crap out of the guy with that squeaker. Because that guy likes to take naps, evidently. And he's not a hospitable, awakening person. Let's just put it in that way. Again, that was Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos. Hot Grill on Grill Action is the name of their team. Their website is bbqrevolution.com. Look for them on the debut episode this Thursday. What the hell month is it? August. August 12th. This Thursday, August 12th, 2010, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on TLC. There you go. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks again to my first hour guests, Robert McGee, Munchin' Hogs at the Hilton. Fred Bernardo, the smoking guitar player. Fred's music from bbq.com. Harry Carey for hosting the 4-segment free-for-all. And my most recent guests here After Dark for this last 52 minutes, Logan Hendrickson and Ryan Amos, Hot Grill on Grill Action. Got a great show lined up for you next week. Locked and loaded for After Dark. Harry Sue of Slap Yo Daddy, bitches! So be sure to tune in. First hour is going to be great as well. We will see you back again next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, this is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.